It does seem to be that number twos and EPs, that kind of jives together. Because if he's a number two and if he's an EP, and he's an ENTP, so he's the smartest guy in town, and then the town is the Silicon Valley, like, no shit, everything lines up. He's like, yeah, computers and shit, and let's do business and work together. And everyone's like, yep, and it all just works out. And that's what evolution is trying to do, just throwing us out there. Like, hopefully, randomly, this works out for you. Oh, sorry about that, it didn't. But for this guy over here, it did. All I care about is the species. This guy will go on, you won't, that's all right. Which is back to self-responsibility. Because maybe you got a horrible deck of cards. Maybe your relationship, your parents, your life, your upbringing, and it's all fucked up, and you gotta move. You gotta move to fucking Colorado. You gotta start over, right? So let's watch some clips of Mark Andreessen. Keep that in mind.
He made his first fortune by co-founding companies such as Netscape and Opsware. But Mark Andreessen made his name by launching Andreessen Horowitz, the powerhouse Silicon Valley venture capital firm.
We sort of thought it was time to go back to the well, if you will, and basically build a firm that was actually built by founders who sort of understood the process more deeply.
In 2009, Mark and partner Ben Horowitz started their firm with just $300 million. Pick a big tech name, and chances are Andreessen Horowitz has invested in it. Twitter, Facebook, Airbnb, Coinbase, Affirm, and the list goes on.
And Slack. I've re-signed up for Slack. It's been on and off with Slack, thanks to Leila Harmosi, and now I'm using Slack once again. Thank you, Michael. So yeah, there you go. And what you're going to see is he likes to get down and do the operations. That's the thing with the number twos, is they're this close to being number ones, but they just love the work. They just got to get back in there and do the work and work with others, and they love the process. A lot of times the number ones, they're going through the process to get to the top, so they can be at the top and they can kind of not retire, but they've kind of made it. And they want to make their name legendary, and then they don't have as much fun doing the work. The twos really kind of get distracted by, they love doing the work. Speaking of number threes, we got our buddy Lex Friedman here. Here he is, rubbing his face, save your sleep. Do look for that. Shani points that out a lot. People would save your sleep. Definitely. Just watching this guy, I cannot see how sleepy he is. So Lex here, being a double masculine ENTP, number three, Lex is trying to figure out Mark Andreessen here. They've got some really good conversations. I've got clips of it where number three, Lex, is trying to figure out Mark. He's like, so what is with this work you're doing? Like, for example, work-life balance is way off. Like, don't you care about that? And the number two guy is like, no, I love it.
So let me ask, what's the secret to balance and maybe to happiness in life?
I don't believe in balance, so I'm the wrong person to ask.
Can you elaborate why you don't believe in balance?
I mean, maybe it's just, and I think people are wired differently, so I think it's hard to generalize this kind of thing. But I am much happier and more satisfied when I'm fully committed to something. So I'm very much in favor of imbalance. Yeah,
imbalance, and that applies to work, to life, to everything.
Yeah, now I happen to have whatever twist of personality traits lead that in non-destructive dimensions, including the fact that I now no longer do the 10-4 plan. I stopped drinking. I do the caffeine, but not the alcohol. So there's something in my personality where I whatever maladaptation I have is inclining me towards productive things, not unproductive things.
See, people know it. People know it's a personality trait. They know it's a fucking personality trait. Once this op stuff comes out, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. It's going to be like a 23andMe profile. Like, hey, it says you don't like cilantro. Oh, it's true. Yeah, true. You have webbed toes. Yeah, true. Cool, whatever. So it is a personality trait. It's exactly what we're seeing. And again, reference your buddy Gary Vee. He's been yelling this for fucking 15 years. That you do got to find what it is that you like. Like for myself, if I'm not sitting there working on something, I feel very agitated. Like I don't want to go to barbecues very often or whatever the hell everyone else is doing. Holidays, I haven't earned holidays yet. Now I know work-life balance, blah, 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 blah. But it's very true that the twos, they are happiest when they're fucking working.
Well, suppose somebody is a terrific entrepreneur on paper. He or she looks great, but they've really never done this before. They seem to have good education. They seem to have the drive. What's the likelihood that you would back somebody who's never done a deal before?
So if they've never founded a company before, and if they just have a plan, it's very unlikely that they raise sort of top end venture capital. However, once in a while, you get somebody who's not done it before, but they've already built the product, right? And so the classic example of this would be Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg had already built Facebook at Harvard, right, by the time he started the company. I was an example of this. I had already built the Mosaic browser by the time I started Netscape. And so a first-time founder who has a product, the Google's another example. The Google guys had built the Google search engine at Stanford. And so if you've already built the product, then you have a calling card to be able to raise money for a venture because you already have something that's real. And so the best thing to do as a first-time founder is actually build a product. Now there's a chicken and egg thing there, which is you might need the money to build the product, and that's where people get stuck.
Oh yes, they do. Oh yes, it's like getting into entrepreneurship. The stuff that this guy does, it's absolutely impossible. You got to start off going, all right, this is impossible times fuck you times infinity times a kick in the balls. Are you ready to play this game? Because it's impossible. Therefore, when you're working the late nights and when things are impossibly hard and everybody hates you, you're like, game on. This is how it's supposed to be.